Hello, I hope you are well. I also hope you are not suffering too much from the heat, but I doubt it because it's hot everywhere. Here I have 35 degrees Celsius and I bless air conditioning, even if it's not very eco-friendly. I couldn't do without it because it's so hot, even at night. I don't use conditioning at night, but I don't really like it, but I've occasionally woken up and put it on. So today we are going to make this kind of little pendant. You see, it shines, it shines. I love it. And it's very colorful. I like it a lot. But we are going to do two methods, two techniques. It's mostly for the background where we are going to do two methods. So it's something I saw on Sherry Moulton channel. I'll give you the link below the video. I always quote my sources because we do a lot of things that may have already been done, but when I have been inspired by someone, I like to mention it. And it's only normal to give credit where credit is due. So we are going to make these little pendants. I have used these rollers for nail art. It's very nice. There are not that many in each roll, but it's okay. I don't remember the name exactly. It's a kind of film that you put on your false nails. And there are lots of colors. I took a little iridescent metallic. I cut them into tiny pieces and put them in a pot. I added some resin and placed them on my base, which was already hardened. You have to be very careful to put the colors on the top because this kind of product has a grayish back, and now I realized I must have left one or two on the wrong way. The pieces are so small that I had a bit of difficulty. And then I went on an archaeological dig through a bunch of things I have. I found this film, which I think it's for cricket cutting machines. And I also found this film in the same color range, if I may say so. This is window film. It's applied to window, you know, as a filter. The nice thing about this one is that I don't have to worry about the direction of my little flakes, since it's iridescent on both sides. And I even found another one that's pretty much the same. In my next video I'll use these films, you'll see. So I'm going to do my little window film cutout because I have to cut it into little pieces. I'm back. I've cut my pieces. You can see them there. I regretted it because I cut them right away into rather large pieces. Then with my scissors I came to cut inside the pot, but it wasn't very easy. Why wasn't it easy? Because it's a little thicker than the nail art sheets, and what's more, there's a transparent film behind this kind of foil which you take off to apply to the window, and I didn't want to take it off because I thought it might be a little bit sticky and I wouldn't like that. So I'm sorry because I had a bit of difficulty cutting them out, and I sweated quite a bit to prepare them. Now I'm going to prepare some resin, UV resin, and as I want a nice black, really black, I'm going to use Mrs. Colorberry's black paste again. I use a very few, just a tiny drop. As you can see, it's a very strong tint. So I'm going to mix well until there are no filaments left or anything like that. And once I'm happy, you know that all I have to do is choose where I'm going to pour the resin. But make sure there are no little lumps or things like that. Now, yes, everything looks good. So, allez, let's pour it into the round. I pour everything I've prepared, and it's even a little bit too little. Yes, I must have more. So I push a little against the sides, and don't forget to go behind the little hook there, otherwise you'll have a hole and won't be able to hang anything. So I use my silicone brush and go behind it to make sure there's resin everywhere. I even go a little over the edges, and that's okay. So that's it. At the same time, I'm going to show you a little trick for this little pendant. Normally, when you make this kind of mold, you start with the bottom, the back, if you like, and build up your layers one after the other. And then you have other molds, like this one, where you start with the front, if I may say so, of the pendant, the cabochon, whatever you want, and you finish with the back. Now, I choose to make this little teardrop pendant, and I mount it starting with the front and leaving the back to finish. On the Sherry Molten channel, I saw this little trick. I don't know if it's really work, but I'll give it a try. So, in fact, we use this. It's a black marker, Sharpie. Well, there you go. You have got your choice of markers, black markers, of course. And what she was showing was coloring in the entire face of the pendant in front of you. You have to insist. You need to apply at least 2 or 3 coats, and getting behind the little hook. Don't forget it. And then all over the edges. And that's it. You have to be meticulous a little bit. So, I will see if it works. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm a bit skeptical, but why not? Anyway, I can already see that it's less black. Yes, less black than what I just poured with the resin. It's not quite the same color. It's darker, but I don't know. But I continue coloring. As it dries instantly, I was able to apply several coats without any problem. Now I can add my layer of clear resin on top to give it a nice shiny look. But it's not as dark as the black mixed with the resin, that's for sure. I use my small micro brush to remove the bubbles, especially around the edges. Well, I'm not completely persuaded that it's going to be great. It's not black enough for what I want. We'll see. And then I'll put it to dry for about 3 minutes. Now, everything is hardened, and we'll start to see the little teardrop pendant, since I'll have to complete the other one, of course. Okay, what happens? Oh, it's shiny. Yes, on this side. It's shiny. Wait, yes, focus. It's shiny. It's got lots of colors. Well, I did use a little too much glitter, admittedly. And the back, yes. Yes. Okay, let's say it's black. It's dark, but I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical. My sparkles stand out well, so there's nothing wrong with that, but it's still transparent. I don't know if you can see well, but there is a fleeting sparkle of glitter. It's quite to do, but not. It doesn't really suit me. Now, move on to the second one. I'm going to cut some small pieces of my window film here, and I've decided to cut them into small pieces right away because it's not used anyway. You have to recut them afterwards, and that's quite difficult. I'll get back very soon. Now I just have to mix a little resin with my little decoupage. So I used 3 different rollers, the ones I showed you here, the 2 big ones, and then the smallest one. I mixed the colors, I hope. And you'll see that I ask myself a lot of questions at some point. So now I mix them well with the resin so that they're well impregnated and stick to my base in a way so that they don't move around too much. I mix them well, turn them over and over again, and I pour them. It's simple. So for the moment I pour them like that in a mass, if I may say so. It's a mount. And I scrape well too, because I had enough trouble cutting them out. So they all have to go. I put them all in. The last one that stick to the walls. Let's go down. Let's go. No reason. Oh yes, I really should have taken off my gloves when I am cutting them, because they were sticking everywhere. A nightmare. That's it. And now I'm going to take my silicone brush and spread them all over the surface so that I get a little bit everywhere, that they spread well. I'm a bit disappointed though, because I've got some big chunks. I didn't cut them fine enough. So I think one evening I'll have to get down to it, and I take some pieces of colored film and cut them into very small pieces, or I'll run them through my blender. That might be a solution. I don't know if my blender like that. So here's what seemed weird to me, but then I understood, is that they're actually all the same color, but not the color that I have in my little cup. So I I had a little bit left over from the nail sheet, and I put in my preparation, if you want. But not. They're all the same colors. Well, let's say they're all different colors when from what I had at the beginning. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. But we'll see. Now I'm adding a layer of resin, not a thick one like for the dome that come last. Now I spread my resin evenly, especially behind the little hook, because that's important. My micro brush for the bubbles. And you have to press hard on these little pieces because they usually come back up and under my UV lamp. Et voila, after 3 minutes. Pretty, isn't it? But then the colors. At this point, I'm wondering, how did that happen? These aren't the colors that were in my mixing cup. Well, I think it's my black background, and yes, it is. So, I'm going to apply a final coat of resin, and we'll see you right away. What happens? What it looks like is that I forgot to dry the reverse side. And you know that with black resin it's a bit tricky because UV rays have a difficult time getting through. I'll have to put it under the lamp again. As my resin is really fresh, I can remove the little overflows I had, and it's very easy to do, especially straight away like this. But then it's a good thing I kept my gloves for unmolding, because you can see that my resin wasn't dry. Oh, and go. So obviously the back is a bit ugly since it wasn't cured, so I'll have to do it again with a coat of black resin. But otherwise, it's super pretty. I love these sprinkles. I always ask myself, why don't I have the colors that are in my little pot? But the answer is pretty obvious. If I put my pot on white with my little pieces there, it's super pretty pink blue. And if I put it on black, well, it takes on other colors: bronze, gold, copper, a bit of green, a few splashes of dark blue. So it's all about the background. I may sound very silly in telling you this, but I'd never done one before, so I didn't know, of course. That's why I have this sparkle, but they're very, very pretty. But I prefer with the tiny sprinkles. Yes, I really prefer them. So, you understand what I'm showing you now. I thought I'd show you a technique I saw on Daniel Copper's channel, but my video was too long. It was over 1 and 30 minutes, and I had a lot of trouble because everything is so simple in other people's video, but then when you do it, it can get tricky. So I decided to just show you the results of 2 things I did with this technique, which I'll explain in my next video. That's why I'm showing it to you like this now. But no, it was really too long and you'd be bored because I had a lot of trouble making it. And this is the second little pendant I made using this technique, which I'll explain next time. It's very, very pretty, very nice colors. So I'll see you soon for this other technique. I'll show you now in Delage. It's lovely. Nice shimmer. I have to cut around, yes, but yes, I'm in my bathroom because it's a very luminous room. So that's it for this test I did, which I'll explain you very soon. As for these, the first little pendants I made, I hope you liked them. Well, you can see the clearest one here, but you can see nothing. It needs a little bit shade. So I'll be back very soon with more explanations. Take care of yourself. And now, bye.